Discover the incredible story that transformed 1 million lives, a heartwarming tale you must see. In the cozy little town of Maple Springs, where the sun sets in hues of orange and pink, Sarah, a 34-year-old single mother, worked with a fire burning in her heart. With 2 kids, Mia, age 9, and Jake, age 6, she spent her days serving all-you-can-eat pancakes at the local diner and dusting furniture in other people's houses. By night, she rang up snacks and drinks at the convenience store. Life wasn't easy, but Sarah kept her family together with unyielding determination. Each morning, she watched the sunrise, a reminder of why she pushed through the endless cycle of work. Her kids needed her, and she wouldn't let them down. But then came the day that changed everything. News swept through the town faster than a summer storm. The factory, the heart of Maple Springs, was on the brink of closing. The whispers of outsourcing loomed over everyone like dark clouds ready to burst. Fear gripped Sarah as she imagined her babies going hungry, their laughter fading into silence. "We can't let this happen," she thought, her mind racing with possibilities. That night, as she put her kids to bed, Sarah decided she wouldn't just watch. She would act. The next morning, she gathered her neighbors in her backyard, under the shimmering heat of the midday sun, and spoke with passion. "We can make our voices heard. Our jobs, our families, our future is at stake." But not everyone welcomed her with open arms. Some of the wealthier residents dismissed her, saying it was time for progress. Those words cut deeper than any harsh reality. Doubt crept into her heart. Could a single mother, struggling to keep her head above water, truly be a leader in this fight? Just as despair began to settle, Uncle Joe, a weathered veteran with kind eyes, approached her. "I believe in you, Sarah," he said. "You've got the fire to make a change. You just need to channel it." Together, they swapped stories of resilience, their laughter, and shared pain, creating a bond that turned into a solid alliance. Before they knew it, they were organizing a town hall meeting, standing in front of a backdrop of hope. The day arrived and Sarah's heart raced. She took a deep breath as she stepped onto the stage. Her palms were clammy, but her spirit soared. This was it. Just as the crowd buzzed with expectation, she was interrupted by a loud crash. The front doors flew open, and a swarm of reporters flooded in, adding to the energy in the room. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. With the microphone in her trembling hand, Sarah's voice rose above the murmurs. "This isn't just about jobs. It's about preserving our dignity, our community, our children's future." The crowd leaned in. Her words pierced through the tension like a beam of light. Would they stand together, or would the division tear them apart? The questions hung in the air like the sweetest scent of freshly baked pie, evoking a sense of urgency. What would be the fate of Maple Springs? Would a simple mother rise up and inspire her town, or would she watch her dreams slip away like sand between her fingers? As Sarah spoke, the air thickened with anticipation. The crowd had gone quiet, captivated by her promise of hope amidst despair. She could feel eyes upon her, some filled with skepticism, others brimming with admiration. But she pressed on, pouring her heart into every word. "Maple Springs isn't just a place on a map, it's our home. It's the laughter we hear every time we step outside, the friendly waves from our neighbors. It's about all of you and what we can achieve together." Encouraged by the nods from a few familiar faces, she locked eyes with Uncle Joe, who gave her an approving smile. "This factory has been our lifeblood," she continued, her voice growing steadier. "We can't let it go without a fight. We owe it to our children, to the future of this town. Let us stand together." Suddenly, someone from the back shouted, "But what can we do? We're just a small town." The despair in the voice jolted her. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling a surge of courage. We may be small, but every great movement starts with someone willing to take a stand. Her words seemed to resonate. The murmurs that had started to fade now turned into whispers of agreement. Sarah could sense a shift in the room. She focused on the people in front of her. Their faces revealed stories of struggle and perseverance, just like hers. I may not have all the answers, but I know one thing: we need to unite. Let us hold a rally. Let us petition together. She could hardly believe she was saying these things, like an electric charge coursing through her veins. More voices joined in, echoing their shared resoluteness. The frustration in the room began to morph into a unified ambition, and for that fleeting moment, Sarah felt invincible. But just as fast as the excitement buzzed, doubt crept in again. What if they failed? What if nobody cared enough to join? In the tenderness of that moment, Mia and Jake appeared at the edge of the crowd, their small hands clasped together, eyes wide with admiration. The sight of them grounded her. She approached the stage, kneeling down to their level. "You two believe in me, right?" They nodded eagerly, their faces alight with faith and trust. With renewed determination, she faced the crowd once more. "Let us show Maple Springs that we refuse to be pushed aside. Let us bring our stories, our hopes, and our dreams to the forefront. Together, we can change our fate." Cheers erupted, echoing off the walls. Laughter mixed with shouts of agreement filled the hall. Sarah's heart soared. Later that night, Sarah let the excitement wash over her as she tucked Mia and Jake into bed. She sat on the edge of Jake's bed, watching them drift off to sleep, their breaths soft and peaceful. She caressed their hair, replaying the evening's events in her mind. But as she turned off the bedside lamp, a chilling thought struck her. What if they did rally? What if people turned out, only to be met with indifference from the owners of the factory? It was a risk she hadn't fully considered. With a heavy heart, she kneeled beside the bed and whispered a silent prayer for strength and wisdom. Whatever happened next, it wouldn't just impact her, but the whole town. Outside, Maple Springs lay quiet under the stars. A sense of urgency settled in her chest. She had ignited a fire, but could she keep it burning? The next morning, Sarah awoke to the sound of ringing phones and buzzing notifications. News of her rally had spread like wildfire. She could feel the weight of the town's hopes resting on her shoulders. With this new wave of energy, she set out to gather momentum. But in the back of her mind, the question lingered: could she be the leader they all needed? As she walked through the bustling streets of the diner that morning, eyes were on her, some encouraging, some doubtful. Sarah smiled in response, but inside, a storm of anxiety brewed. Would she truly be able to rally her town, or would she fall short? And just as she was about to prepare the pancakes, a shadow fell over her. Someone had arrived with news that could change everything. What would it be? Would it push her further into the fight or pull her back into doubt? She felt her heart pounding as she turned to face whoever stood behind her, the floor beneath her pulsing with the potential for change. Sarah turned slowly, her breath catching in her throat as she met the gaze of Tom, the factory manager. His face was a mix of concern and determination. He stood there, trembling slightly, a notebook clutched in his hands. "Sarah," he said, his voice low but steady, "I wanted to let you know, I've been hearing things." Her mind raced. Was he here to acknowledge the rally? To offer support? Or was he about to deliver devastating news about the factory? "They're planning to close the factory sooner than we thought," he continued, glancing around as if searching for eavesdroppers. "I heard it from a reliable source. They want to pull the plug within the next few weeks. Some of the upper management, they don't care about us. They see numbers, not people." A wave of despair swept over Sarah, dragging her thoughts down. The urgency to act clawed at her heart. "What? We can't just let that happen." "It's why I came to find you," Tom said, his eyes steady now. "I believe we need to mobilize fast. I think we can do something, but we need a clear plan. People want to act, but they need direction." She nodded, the adrenaline surging through her veins again. "You're right. I'll call a meeting tonight. We'll gather everyone. If there's a chance to save our jobs, we can't waste it." Determination flickered in her chest, pushing away the fear. But doubt lingered, whispering that it might still be too late. As customers trickled in, the diner buzzed with life, but Sarah's pulse raced with anxiety. The clock ticked louder in her ears. What would she say to the townspeople? The morning passed like a blur. With every pancake flipped, every cup of coffee poured, conversations swirled around her, stories of worries about booming bills and families feeling the strain of uncertainty. And still, the nagging voice in her head couldn't quiet down, asking if she was truly capable of leading this charge. Finally, the sun began to dip low in the sky, casting warm hues across the diner's windows. Sarah wiped her hands on her apron, steeling herself. This was the moment that would define everything. She sent out a mass text, urging folks to come to the town hall at 7. The tension in her chest twisted tighter as the hour approached. She felt like a lighthouse surrounded by a tumultuous sea, knowing the storm was coming, yet hoping she could guide the ship safely to shore. As she stood in front of the podium, the room filled with familiar faces. The whispers quieted, replaced by an expectant hush. Sarah swallowed hard and steadied her shaking hands. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice stronger than the fear pounding in her chest. "We are here tonight for each other, for our future, for our families. We have to unite and show them that." But before she could finish, the doors swung open with a bang, and in walked a group of people Sarah didn't recognize. They moved in with purpose, eyes scanning the room filled with her friends and neighbors. A chill swept through her as she caught sight of their briefcases and serious expressions. Who were these people, and what were they doing here? Sarah's stomach dropped as one of the strangers cleared their throat, a clipboard in hand. "We need to talk," they said firmly, the weight of their presence different from anything the townsfolk had ever faced. Would they come as allies, or would they threaten everything Sarah had worked for? The crowd turned, faces pale, echoing their uncertainty. The chamber fell silent, and her heart raced. This was the decisive moment. Could they band together against the forces that sought to tear them apart? As she locked eyes with the strangers, a new wave of determination surged within her. The fight for Maple Springs was about to take a turn she hadn't anticipated. Were they ready for whatever was coming their way? The tension in the room was almost unbearable. Sarah could feel her heart beating loudly in her ears, a drum signaling the storm that was about to break. The strangers stood there, unyielding. Their demeanor was stern, and the way they clutched their briefcases added an extra layer of anxiety to the atmosphere. "Who are you?" Sarah managed to ask, her voice trembling slightly. She had to lead, had to show strength. She glanced around, her eyes catching several worried expressions in the crowd, each face mirroring her own concern. One of the strangers approached the podium, his sharp suit a stark contrast to the worn jeans and flannel shirts of the townsfolk. "I'm Mr. Stevens," he said, his tone clipped. "We represent the corporate office. We're here to inform you about the factory's future." The crowd murmured, a mix of fear and confusion spreading like wildfire. Questions hung in the air, but no one dared voice them. Mr. Stevens continued, "We are aware of the efforts to rally support here, but the decision has been made. The factory is going to close. This is out of our hands." A heavy silence filled the room until Sarah felt an uncontrollable surge of anger rush through her. "But you can't just take away our jobs." Her voice rang out, steadying her nerves. "You're talking about lives here. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet." Mr. Stevens frowned, but there was something softer in his eyes, perhaps a hint of understanding. "I know it's difficult. But the decision has been based on what?" Sarah interrupted, her frustration bubbling over. "On profits? On bottom lines? My friends, my family, we deserve better than to be discarded like this." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Little by little, people began to rise from their seats, emboldened by Sarah's words. Tom, who had been standing quietly at the back, stepped forward. "You think we're just going to roll over and let this happen? We're a community. We'll fight for our jobs, for our town." "Exactly," Sarah exclaimed. "If you're here because of the factory, then help us fight. Don't just stand there and dictate our fate." You have the power to change the minds up the chain. Stevens shifted uncomfortably. The group of corporate eyes studied the swelling crowd before them, sensing the strength rising among the townsfolk. He opened his mouth, hesitating before speaking. I can't promise anything. Start with listening, Sarah urged, her voice piercing through the apprehension. Hear us out. Let us talk about how we can save our jobs, our future. We deserve that much. The air buzzed with a mix of tension and rising hope, hearts pounding together in shared purpose. Sarah felt a warmth spreading through her, connecting her to everyone in the room. They were gaining momentum. We need to show them who we are, she said, looking around at her friends and neighbors. The strength of Maple Springs. If we stand together, they can't ignore us. Tom nodded, his eyes alight with fierce determination. We could create petitions, set up a rally, something to get the community involved. Spread the word. Let us unite, Sarah said, raising her voice. Let them know we want to. Just sit down quietly. Mr. Stevens looked taken aback but intrigued. You really believe you can make a difference? I know we can, she replied, her heart racing with determination. The feeling was electric. It coursed through her veins and outwards, igniting the passion within each audience member. Just then, a voice from the back of the room broke through. How do we reach them? What if they're already set on the closure? All eyes turned to Sarah, and at that moment she realized it wasn't just about fighting for their jobs. It was about something bigger than herself. Could she lead them into unknown waters, regardless of what lay ahead? As the group began to brainstorm ideas, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility mixed with the thrill of possibility. They had a long road, and the unknown loomed ahead, but together, they could face whatever came next. What was it going to take to change their fate? As the voices filled the air with plans, one thing was clear: the battle for Maple Springs had only just begun, and the fight for their future would demand everything they had. Would their unity be enough to sway decisions made in distant boardrooms? The energy in the room crackled with anticipation. Conversations swirled like autumn leaves caught in a gust of wind. Sarah stood at the center, adrenaline pulsing her thoughts into action. She could feel the eyes of her neighbors on her, searching for answers, searching for hope. It was a moment that could change everything. All right, let us think this through, she said, trying to channel the fear boiling inside her. We need to act fast. If we're going to show them who we are, we need to gather our voices loud and clear. Nobody can ignore 300 signatures, Tom said, bouncing on his feet. Let us draft a petition. We hit them where it hurts. And what about social media? Another voice chimed in. We can spread the message beyond Maple Springs. Our stories need to be heard. Sarah nodded, feeling a wave of determination wash over her. Exactly. We'll share our struggles, our lives. This isn't just about jobs. It's about our community, our way of life. We need to stand together and share our story with the world. Do you think they'll listen? Someone asked, their voice shaky. They have to listen, she replied fiercely. If we don't fight for ourselves, who will? We need to make them realize that we are real people, not just numbers. We have families, dreams, and a future tied to this factory. The crowd rallied behind her, their resolve thickening. Many stood taller, their expressions shifting from fear to defiance. They were no longer just a collection of faces but a united front. Let us meet tomorrow morning, Sarah declared, at the town hall. We'll form teams for the petition, a social media strategy, and start planning a rally. We'll show them the heart of Maple Springs. The room erupted with enthusiastic chatter. Names were thrown out, volunteers stepped forward, and ideas were exchanged like currency. Meanwhile, Sarah took a moment to breathe, wrapping her head around the vastness of what lay ahead. Mr. Stevens watched quietly, a furrow forming on his brow. Are you certain you want to do this? He asked, a hint of concern in his voice. It could get messy. Messy is better than nothing, Sarah shot back. Her confidence was unwavering. And if we don't try, we'll regret it. I refuse to let Maple Springs fade away because of decisions made without us. He seemed to soften for a moment, as if her fire had sparked something in him. I'll be here tomorrow if you need anything, he said before turning to his colleagues. But I can't make promises. As the meeting wrapped up, Sarah felt hope budding anew. This wasn't just a fight. It was a chance to forge connections, to bring neighbors closer together. Community spirit stirred in her heart, lifting her higher than any fear could push her down. Walking out, the night air was cool against her skin, a stark contrast to the warmth of camaraderie she felt moments ago. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through her contacts. What would it take to spark more connections? She dialed her best friend, Emma, eager to share the night's events. We've got to get the youth involved. They have families. Suddenly, the call cut out. A few beeps sounded, then the voice on the other end was replaced by silence. Emma? Panic flared. What if something had happened? She felt a chill creep in as ominous thoughts surfaced. Could this fight for their town be in danger even before it began? As anxiety washed over her, she decided not to dwell on fear. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, they had a fight to prepare for, and as she stared at the darkened street ahead, one question loomed in her mind. Would they uncover the strength within themselves to overcome the shadows of uncertainty, or would their hopes falter before they even began? Morning arrived too soon, but the sun broke through the clouds, bestowing a gentle warmth on Maple Springs. Sarah stood in front of the town hall, feeling both excited and apprehensive. The streets were starting to fill up with familiar faces, and the scent of fresh coffee and baked goods wafted through the air from the local diner down the street. Hey, you made it! Emma called out, her smile brightening the day. Sarah's heart swelled with gratitude. Of course! I couldn't do this without you. They exchanged quick hugs before Emma turned her attention to the gathering crowd, who were slowly trickling in. There was a mix of expressions, determination, hesitation, and even a little fear. Sarah cleared her throat, a simple gesture to gather everyone's focus. All right, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? She shouted, her voice steady. The murmurs faded into silence, and Sarah felt the weight of their hopes resting on her shoulders. Yet she was ready. She took a deep breath and raised her head high, channeling that night's energy. Today isn't just about signatures or social media, it's about us. It's about our lives. Each one of us has a story, and together, we can make sure those stories resonate beyond our town. The crowd nodded as she continued. Let us start with the petition. I have copies ready, and I'll take the lead on getting those signatures. Then we can split into groups for social media and organizing our rally. We need to show them our unity. Tom stepped forward, holding up a stack of papers. Petition drafts are here. Let us get signing. Cheers erupted among the group as they filled in their names with fervor. As the signatures flowed in, Sarah looked around. She saw familiar faces, neighbors, school friends, the elderly couple who lived 3 doors down. Each name written down felt like an anchor to her conviction. But as she collected the papers, there was a nagging thought in her mind. Was it enough? After the petition, they gathered into teams to strategize their social media presence. Littered with ideas and brainstorming sessions, they mapped out the stories they wanted to share. Let us highlight the human side of this, Emma suggested passionately. Real people experiencing real struggles. We need to capture their hearts. Right. Sarah agreed, we must show them we're more than job statistics. We're families, dreams, hopes for a better future. Around her, energizing excitement simmered. They broke into smaller groups, each tasked with creating content that would highlight their experiences. Laughter bubbled, intermingling with deeper discussions about their fears and aspirations. Suddenly, a hush fell over the crowd as Mr. Stevens approached, his expression serious. Sarah, he said, drawing her aside, I hope you know what you're doing. I've been asked to deliver a message to you personally. What is it? Is something wrong? Her stomach dropped. They want to meet again. They've heard your noise. They want to discuss terms. She felt the air thicken with tension. Terms? What do you mean? He took a breath, clearly weighing his words. They're considering negotiations, but it's not a fair offer. You'll need to be prepared for an uphill battle. Sarah swallowed hard. Was this what they fought for? A negotiation? Were they selling their souls for a few scraps thrown at the feet of Maple Springs? But in the pit of her stomach, a fire ignited. No matter what, we will stand our ground. We deserve to be treated fairly. Mr. Stevens nodded, reluctantly impressed by her resolve. Then you best be prepared. They'll come at you hard. With a heavy heart and renewed vigor, Sarah returned to her group. As she shared the news, the atmosphere shifted. The stakes were higher now. They would fight for more than just a job. They would fight for the essence of their community. As the sun set behind the town hall, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Sarah contemplated the road ahead. She felt exhilarated but also terrified. Would they have the strength, the unity to face what lay in wait, and amidst the noise of resolve? One powerful thought pressed heavily: could they truly stand together when the real fight began, or would their hopes shatter like glass? The next day dawned, clouded with expectation and anxiety. Sarah woke early, her mind racing. The meeting loomed ahead, and she could feel the weight of it pressing down on her shoulders. The community had rallied behind her, but now it felt like everything was on the line. She dressed quickly, throwing on a simple sweater and jeans, and grabbed a warm cup of coffee from the kitchen. As Sarah stepped out, the crisp morning air nipped at her cheeks. She took a long moment to breathe it in, searching for clarity. She needed this strength, hers and the town's, to face whatever awaited them. When she arrived at the town hall, the atmosphere buzzed with unspoken fears and fervent hopes. Familiar faces greeted her, each smile wavering but carrying warmth. Emma was there, looking as determined as ever. "Did you get any more signatures?" Emma asked, her clipboard clutched tightly to her chest. "I think we're at a solid number, but we need every single one," Sarah replied. "Today is crucial." Together, they set up a makeshift station outside the hall, ready to collect last-minute signatures. People filed in slowly, some casting curious glances at the petition. The chatter was animated but underscored by an underlying tension. "Sarah!" a voice called from the crowd. It was Mr. Stevens again, his brow furrowed. "Are you ready?" he asked, urgency in his tone. She nodded, though her heart raced. "As ready as I'll ever be." As the hour approached, the group formed tighter around her. She felt their energy swirling, a current of hope mixed with fear. They all knew what was at stake, yet here they stood, shoulder to shoulder, ready to face it together. "Okay, everyone, gather close," Sarah called out, feeling the warmth of their support. "Whatever happens in there today, remember, we're doing this for one another. We're more than just names on a paper. We're a community." Their cheers echoed off the bricks of the town hall, filling her with a renewed sense of purpose. She locked eyes with Emma, who looked as if she might burst with pride, and for a moment, the anxiety faded. Then, the doors swung open and a stern-looking woman stepped outside. Sarah recognized her from the last meeting, corporate, polished, and decidedly unyielding. "Sarah Bennett?" she called, scanning the crowd until her eyes met Sarah's. Feeling all eyes on her, Sarah stepped forward. "Yes, that's me. You are invited to discuss the terms of your petition." "Follow me," the woman instructed, her voice steady and commanding. With a deep breath, Sarah turned back to her friends. "I can't do this alone. I need everyone to stay close. Whatever they throw at us, don't let go of each other." The crowd murmured in agreement, their faces a mixture of hope and fear. She knew that behind their bravery lay the same worries she had carried, the fear of not being taken seriously, the worry of being dismissed. But they were ready to fight. Together. As she followed the woman through the doors, heart pounding, she felt a pang of doubt stir within her. What if they turned her down again? What if they didn't see the value of Maple Springs, of their stories? Inside, the air was heavy with formality, contrasting with the vibrant energy just outside. There were tables set up with documents laid out, numbers and charts that felt cold and impersonal. As they took their seats, Sarah looked into the eyes of the committee members. This was it. "We want to propose a deal," the stern woman began, her voice abrupt. "But first, we need to understand what you're willing to accept." And in that moment, with every gaze fixed on her, Sarah felt which way the tides could turn. She thought of the town, the stories yet to be told, and how many lives hung in the balance. Would they make a deal that compromised their dreams, or would Sarah find the courage to push for more? The weight of the stakes settled heavy in the air. All they wanted was to be heard, but would they really be listened to? As the stern woman's words hung in the air, Sarah's heart raced. The committee members looked impassive, not giving anything away. She swallowed hard, the reality of what was unfolding tightening like a vice around her chest. This moment felt monumental. Her voice, their fate. "We're listening," Sarah said, her own voice surprising her with its steadiness. She glanced at Emma, whose nod of encouragement sparked a flicker of determination within her. "But we need to be clear about what we're fighting for." The stern woman nodded slightly, then motioned to a younger man beside her, who flipped through papers. He cleared his throat, and Sarah noted how he shifted uncomfortably in his seat, as if he cared more than he let on. "Maple Springs has potential, but it's not feasible to support every initiative proposed here today," he said, glancing at the committee before focusing back on Sarah. "We need to know what you're asking for and what you're willing to give in return." Taking a deep breath, Sarah sought out the faces in the room again, their friends, their family, everyone counting on her. The warmth of that small town community wrapped around her like a blanket. "What I'm asking for is an opportunity to grow our community, to preserve what makes Maple Springs special. We're not just a name on a map. We have history, spirit, and a vision for the future." The room fell silent. Sarah's passionate plea echoed in the stillness, and she felt the weight of her own words. More than mere survival, they wanted authenticity, a chance to thrive without losing what made them unique. "Your energy is admirable," the stern woman replied coolly, but there was just the hint of a softened tone beneath her words. "However, we can't promise unlimited resources. So, what are you willing to compromise?" A wave of frustration surged within Sarah. It felt like a negotiation at a car dealership instead of a heartfelt conversation about their lives. She glanced at Emma, who caught her eye, signaling to push forward. "We want to compromise our values," Sarah said, her voice firm, "but we're willing to work together on initiatives that can create value for both sides. Let's discuss community programs that will bring people together, boost local business, and preserve our heritage." A murmur rippled through the committee, and Sarah could see small exchanges of glances. She pressed on, fueled by the belief that change was possible. Then, a gray-haired woman at the back of the table spoke up. "What sort of programs are we talking about? And how do you plan to finance them without our direct support?" "Fundraising, partnerships, creative events," Sarah replied, the ideas spilling out as they came. "We could start with a community festival showcasing local talent. We could get small businesses involved. A percentage of the income could go back into the town's development." The stern woman didn't react, but the younger man raised an eyebrow, intrigued. The more Sarah spoke, the more she felt the tightly held worry of her community lessen. They were not helpless, they had ideas, and she could lead them. Just as excitement began to fill her chest, the gray-haired woman interrupted. "This will take a lot of work, and we need to be sure you're all in. Can I count on you? This isn't just a good idea, it has to become a reality." In that moment, the energy in the room shifted. It was palpable. Her heart was pounding now, not from fear but from the electric possibility. "Yes, I'll fight for this. We will work hard, and we will show you that Maple Springs is worth investing in." With those words, she saw nods of agreement around the table. Maybe they could make this work. The thought sparkled with hope. Suddenly, the stern woman cleared her throat again. "Very well, let us lay everything on the table. But know this, expectations are high on both sides, and your commitment will be scrutinized." Sarah felt a swell in her chest, and she braced herself for what came next. It was a daunting prospect, but the unwavering gaze of her friends out in the hallway fortified her resolve. Yet what she didn't expect was the fissure of doubt still gnawing at her heart. What if they were untrustworthy? What if, in the end, it shattered everything she had worked for? As she prepared to respond, the woman leaned in closer, her expression inscrutable. "But first, there's something else we need to discuss." Her heart was racing as she locked eyes with the stern woman. The atmosphere tensed, anticipation hanging thick in the air. "What else?" Sarah managed to ask, her voice a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The woman paused, scanning the room as if measuring its impact. "There have been concerns about the current leadership in Maple Springs." A low murmur erupted among the committee members, and Sarah felt an icy grip of dread on her heart. "What do you mean?" Emma interjected, her brow furrowed with concern. The younger man leaned forward, his expression earnest. "There are whispers that some leaders may not have the community's best interests at heart. We need transparency, and your group, well, it is essential for us to ensure that the momentum you gain is not undermined." Shock rippled through Sarah. The foundation she thought she was building seemed tenuous now. "Are you saying we can't trust our own leaders?" "Trust is a fragile thing," the stern woman said. "We're concerned that without accountability, this initiative could spiral out of control. We need you to present a united front, one that truly embodies the community spirit." Her stomach twisted. "But we're trying to change Maple Springs for the better. We're ready to bring people together." "Change is slow, and it's often met with resistance," the older woman replied. "Be prepared for pushback. You'll need allies within the council, but if any members feel threatened by your efforts, they might sabotage your plans." Sarah felt a wave of uncertainty crash over her. "But how do we build that trust while fighting for change?" "Start small. Gather support through clear communication. Show them you're not here to disrupt, you're here to uplift," the younger man suggested. "Engage with the community, host meetings, and be visible. They need to see who you are." Sarah knew deep down they had to face their fears head on. "We won't let mistrust dictate our decisions. We'll prove that we're here for the right reasons." "Determination is admirable," the stern woman acknowledged. "But don't underestimate their influence. The last thing we want is for you to be painted as a threat before you have a chance to succeed." At that moment, a new fire ignited within Sarah. She was fighting for her town, her family, her friends. The whispers of doubt began to fade. "We'll keep the lines of communication open. We'll work to mend any bridges that need repairing. Our history is our strength, and we won't let it be ignored." The committee exchanged glances. It wasn't an easy undertaking, but they seemed to take some measure of hope from her words. Slowly, the stern woman nodded. "If you can set a plan, we'll assist you in connecting with those in power. But we need to see commitment and real results." As the pressure mounted, Sarah's resolve hardened. "You'll see it. We'll rally this community together. Maple Springs deserves so much more than it currently has." With those words, the room shimmered with newfound optimism. But as warm as the moment felt, uncertainty clung tightly in her mind. Could they really change the hearts of those who saw them as a threat? "Great," the stern woman replied, a cautious smile crossing her lips. "Now let us talk about how you can get started." As they began outlining a plan of action, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Their journey might have started with hope, but it was heading into uncharted territory filled with potential pitfalls. Just as she was about to share her thoughts on community engagement, the door creaked open, and a tall figure stepped inside, a face from her past that could either shatter their mission or become an unexpected ally. "Sorry to interrupt," he said with a grin, "but I have something you need to see." The room hushed, and all eyes turned to him. It was Michael, Sarah's high school friend, now a city council member. He strolled in confidently, briefcase in one hand and a hopeful expression on his face. "I just caught wind of what is happening here, and I wanted to offer my support." Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Michael, this is exactly what we need. We're trying to unite the community and keep the factory open." He nodded, dropping his briefcase on the table and unfolded a few documents. "I have been hearing the buzz around town, and I know how hard you've been fighting. I want in. We can work together to push for the right changes." Hope surged through Sarah like electricity. "This is incredible news. We need someone in the council who believes in us." As Michael outlined his vision, the atmosphere lightened. His insider status could bridge gaps that had seemed insurmountable. He offered ideas on transparency, suggesting town hall meetings where residents could voice their concerns and gain a better understanding of their local government. People want to feel heard, he emphasized, his eyes locking on Sarah S., and if we can stand firm together, we can show them that change is possible. Together, they sketched out a plan, a series of workshops to educate the community about the factory's future, a strategy for outreach to reconnect with residents who felt disenfranchised, and a rally that would demonstrate their collective strength. The committee members shifted, their expressions softening as they realized the potential in Sarah's vision. "Michael, this is huge. You have no idea how much your help means to us," Sarah said, feeling a swell of gratitude. "It's time we take our concerns directly to the council in a unified voice." He smiled, and along with it came the sense that they were on the cusp of something remarkable. Huddled close together, they fleshed out ideas, creating action items that everyone could help with. Whether it was social media campaigns, planning the rally, or gathering public support, they all had a role to play. When the meeting wrapped up, Sarah and her newfound allies emerged into the crisp evening air filled with a sense of purpose. The sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of fiery orange and soft lavender. It was a reminder of how change often comes after turbulent storms, and tonight, their storm of effort had birthed a new dawn. At home that night, Sarah tucked her kids into bed, their soft snores punctuating the stillness of the house. Sitting at her kitchen table, surrounded by papers filled with plans, she felt a new confidence within her. It was the fires ignited by the community, the voices that came together which assured her that they could navigate the path ahead. Days turned into weeks as the hard work unfolded. The rally drew hundreds, with families representing every corner of Maple Springs. They shared personal stories that echoed through the heart of their community, highlighting their struggles and the dream of a better future for the town. As Sarah took the stage, she beamed at the energetic crowd, high on emotion and the sheer power of teamwork. "Together, we stand not just for jobs. We stand for our identity, our families, and our future." The applause thundered back, a crescendo of hope and resilience. With each passing day, they gained traction. Petitions flooded in, and news of Maple Springs' fight spread far beyond their small town. Everyone came together, feeling the momentum shift in their favor. Sarah, full of life, breathed in the energy of her mission, knowing that they could create lasting change. Then came the meeting with the corporate executives. As she sat among her allies in a room that once felt daunting, she spoke boldly but with a heart full of respect. "We're here today not just as numbers on a spreadsheet but as the lifeblood of this community. We are worthy of the investment in our future. Let us discuss meaningful ways to move forward together." The executives nodded, some even showing signs of agreement. In that moment, as Sarah looked around at her friends and family, she felt a swell of pride and purpose. They had become more than a community. They were a family fighting side by side for their dreams. As the meeting concluded, with tentative commitments made and hope blossoming into tangible possibilities, Sarah stepped outside into the sunlight. She could feel change in the air. It was a profound shift, the kind that could redefine everything. "You did it, Sarah. We all did it!" Emma cheered, running to embrace her. Tears of joy prickled in Sarah's eyes. "We're just getting started. This is only the beginning." Behind her, the bustling town carried on the laughter of children, the honk of cars, and the scent of fresh pancakes wafting in the air from the diner around the corner. Maple Springs had found its voice, and it would never be silenced again. With a determined heart, Sarah raised her chin to the sky, feeling the warmth wash over her. She believed fiercely in their community, their story, and the beautiful path ahead. They could do this. But now, the crowd and you, the audience, have to join the cause. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to stay updated on the amazing journey ahead. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread the word about transforming stories like this. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Your engagement means everything. Together, let us capture the spirit of Maple Springs.